Well, Britain's opposition Labour Party says it will back the option of a public vote or second referendum on Brexit under certain conditions. These include a failure to agree on changes to the government's deal or a general election. Well, the government is currently holding cross-party talks with the Labour Party aimed at finding a consensus to help get a Brexit deal approved by Parliament. Prime Minister Theresa May says she wants these talks to conclude before the end of next week. Well, for more on the Brexit negotiations, I'm joined now by our correspondent Tig Enright. Well, good evening to you, Tig. So can you tell us a little bit more about this decision by the Labour Party?
Well, this, Isabel, was a real battle of wills between the pro and anti-EU factions within the Labour Party, and it does feel as if the anti-EU faction has actually won, because although there is a clear majority within the Labour Party that would want there to be a second referendum, the senior leadership and the leader himself, Jeremy Corbyn, has always been lukewarm and reluctant to commit to it, and the decision has been that within the party's European election manifesto, they said that they would pursue the option of a second referendum, but only if their other plans don't work out, those being putting their own stamp on their own type of Brexit or achieving a general election. And those remainers within the party, and particularly electoral candidates who had been pushing for this, are trying their best to put a brave face in all this, saying that they have put a second referendum on the political agenda for these European elections. But their critics in other parties say that, well, at least one thing is now clear, that if you as a voter do want there to be another referendum, then you should not support a Labour candidate, even if that candidate is one of those that has been calling for a people's vote.
And at the same time, Tig, there's been these cross-party talks. Would it be too optimistic to say that there does appear to have been a little bit of a glimmer of hope and some progress there?
Well, you know, the day started somewhat optimistically, with positive sounds being made by both sides about a breakthrough on all this. We know the key difference between them is whether or not Britain should remain in a customs union with the EU. It's something that Labour wants, but the Conservatives do not. But then things took somewhat of a turn for the worse when Theresa May's Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt said that a customs union would not be acceptable to the hard right of their Conservative Party. And then the Labour finance spokesperson, John McDonnell, very close to the leader Jeremy Corbyn, said, well, you know, that's really bad faith in terms of these negotiations. And if that's the type of thing is being said at this stage, well, then how can we have any faith in the Conservative leadership for keeping to this deal? Perhaps any deal that they reach, he said, would only be in place until the next Tory party leadership. I think, contest that is, I think hopes of a breakthrough on this have always been quite slim. Theresa May has also tried to put a deadline on these negotiations, saying she wants there to be an outcome by the end of next week that would allow her in principle to try and get the withdrawal agreement through and avoid taking part in those European elections. I think there'll be a bigger issue though now, between now and the end of next week, and that's local elections happening on Thursday. The Conservatives are expected to take a drubbing, and perhaps by this time next week there could be a fresh set of questions about Theresa May's own leadership.
Yep, and too early for optimism on those cross-party Brexit talks. Well, Tig Enright for us there in London, thank you.